So then I thought, does she really not want me here? Samantha here with Brown Passport. I am talking to you from my own backyard. I've said before in some of the stories, some of the travel stories, sometimes travel is in your own backyard. It is today. It is during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I am in New York City, traveling down the steps from this awesome house that I rent, sitting in my backyard.
So I combined a couple of stories here. I did a little bit of the beginning of the pandemic. I'll share some of that with you. I have a story from a previous St. Patty's Day with my parents. Parents are not together anymore, however, they are friends, thankfully, now. And we had shared a time at St. Patrick's Day together in a fairly rural area. It's actually the town where I grew up. It's not that far from Philadelphia, but you don't need to go that far outside of Philly to get to something quite rural. And then there was another somewhat local. It's local in New York State, which is a big state, so not exactly local to New York City. Lake Placid, New York. I did a film shoot up there with the team that I work with often. And I shared a little bit about what it was like, memories of going there with my parents again as a kid when they were together. So remember, travel can be in your own backyard, whether that's 8 hours from your backyard or 8 minutes from your backyard. Never underestimate the experiences you can have just down the street.
I try and see my parents as much as I can. They're not getting younger, neither am I. They live about 2 to 4 hours, depending on traffic from here, usually average 2.5, 3 hours from here. So I try to go down a couple of times a month. They live about an hour away from each other. They've been divorced since, God knows, a long time ago, but friendly. So, you know, it does help when I go down to see them. They only have a day or two that I can sometimes see them together. My dad has some limited mobility these days, so we try to do something that's, you know, easy for all of them, and then nice for all of us to do and have fun. It's usually a diner, but this time I said, St. Patty's Day, is there something different? I found out that one of the farms has turned into a winery, and they have events on the weekends. And I thought, oh my gosh, they have a bagpiper, and they have this guy singing with a guitar, and that'll be great. We go to this winery. My dad drives himself. I'm with my mom. She gets out of the car and she looks around, and my mom's like, you know, I don't know if we'll really be welcomed, or I don't really know how it's going to be. It might be kind of funny in there, you know, but okay. So meaning that she's going to go anyway, but that she was a little bit just acknowledging that, being that we're a mixed family, she wasn't really sure if they would really want us there. I mean, it's 2019 now, but you gotta understand, things that have happened to people, the memories are fresh. It could have been 30 years ago, it could have been 5 years ago. It's happened multiple times, enough so that it just puts an impression on you, kind of for the rest of your life. You're battling that. I don't want to speak for everyone because some folks may not have gone through that, but I can say for myself, my parents are a lot older. I went through what I went through. They went through things far worse. And for me, even, it's still like, oh yeah, okay. You know, I don't talk about it that much, but it's something that you notice if you're the only one like you in the room. You can't help it, which is often. My dad didn't hear what my mom said. He got out of the car just after she did. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, hey, Mantha, we're gonna be the only blacks in here. Kind of like laughing, but it's an uncomfortable laugh. Like, it's probably because he's a little uncomfortable, and acknowledging it to bring himself to being comfortable, and just saying, okay, we're together and let's just see how it goes, and I hope we'll be okay. We'll have fun. Okay, I got my stuff. I sat down there, and my family's like, you know, we start warming up and really enjoying ourselves, and it's pretty cool. My dad sees an older guy. He also said, okay, my dad also says to me, oh, I'm the oldest one in here, which I don't know. There's a few older people in there. I have no idea how old. He saw a guy, white hair guy, a little slow to walking, but not any issues walking. And my dad goes out of his way, you know, tapping, hey. I'm like, oh my God, what's he doing? So he just says, hi, hi. And the guy's looking around. It's a little weird. And he's just like, hi. And he starts talking to me. He says, you and I are the oldest ones in here. And I'm like, you don't know how old this guy is? I don't know. And the guy kind of chuckled and he said, yeah, probably. He looks around. He said, maybe. And he's like, I'm almost 79. And my dad said, oh, well, I got 10 years on you. And they joked around about that. And that's that. And we all leave. And then I'm trying to take pictures of my parents. And my dad's like, oh, get my friend to take it. I was like, what's he doing? So he asked the guy that he was talking with to take the picture, but his family member did. She's like, oh, no, I got it. So we got a picture. And then my dad wanted him to be in one. So we did that. Then they started exchanging words. I have no idea what they said, but next thing you know, my dad's hugging the guy. And the guy's like, yeah, why not? Why not? God only knows what that means, what they said for each other. And he's like, oh, my friend. I think that my dad went out of his way to do this with the guy because he really thought that maybe he wasn't welcome there, and he wanted to make sure that he was, or at least he wanted to let folks know that he's not a threat. He's not to be, nothing to be scared of, and it's okay if we're friends. So I'm here in Lake Placid, New York, where the 1980 Olympics were. And I remember as a kid, I don't remember that much about it, but I remember when I was a kid, like really young. It just meant a lot to me that, oh, wow, cool, you know, that's going on up there, not too far. I mean, we grew up in New Jersey near Philly, so it's like, 7 hours or something to get up this way. So I am walking out on a frozen lake by myself, which is probably not the smartest thing. Though I do see some other folks over there with their dogs walking, and some trucks were driving here earlier. And from what I was told yesterday, it's frozen enough where the trucks are driving all over the lake. So I'm gonna take this opportunity to go check this out. Growing up and even into the earlier years, or a lot of years of my adulthood, I would have assumed that coming to this kind of area is a little bit less safe, or welcoming, I think I should say, for certain groups of people, mostly black Americans. I would have thought, not now, but I'm saying before, I would have gone, but it would have been apprehensive or assuming that I'm less welcomed. Why I'm sharing this is everyone has preconceived notions. I mean, here I have this blog, and I am the one now standing here sharing that I used to think one thing about certain areas of the country, which is not really fair. And it has nothing to do with the way the place looks. It has everything to do with the way I assumed that I may be treated, or how I assumed others thought of me, which shouldn't really even matter anyway, but it did. And like I said, I still went. I feel differently now, and being here, it's just so gorgeous, and it is welcoming in this town. I mean, being up here in upstate New York, Lake Placid, it's so welcoming. It's kind of the opposite of how I thought most of my life. I'm shooting stuff for my blog. Do you mind if you just wave hello?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, hey. How's it going? Yeah. What's your dog's name?
His name's Yogi.
Hi, Yogi.
Come on, he's
It's
still
a
pup.
pretty good name. Hey, Yogi. My dad grew up in Mobile, Alabama, which I've addressed a few times, or will be in the blog. And he was at one point delivering papers. He was telling me, and then, you know, and I said, come on, boy. Come on, come up to the porch, something like that. He said, because there was a dog there, and he was apprehensive, understandably. And, you know, they let him know that the dog wasn't going to bite him or any of that, and just to come on up to the porch, come on up, boy, and all this. And of course, he goes up there, and the dog bites him. You know, it was different times. Hopefully that would not happen today, but at any rate, he told me that my grandfather went over there and with him, and he said, son, is this the dog? And he said he nodded yes, and that my grandfather shot the dog dead in front of the people. But how my grandfather, who was black, got away with that in front of white dog owners in Mobile, Alabama in the 40s, I have no idea. What I would say is, you only live once that I know of. Some people believe otherwise, which is cool by me, but make the best of what you have while you have it. And if you can do something that you thought was interesting or that you might find cool or fascinating, but you didn't do it because you were nervous, afraid, or whatever, don't let that fear hold you back. Hello, welcome to Brown Passport. From the city where I actually live most of the year, New York, if you haven't guessed that already. I'm in the middle of Times Square at the tickets, not booth, but the tickets, what do you call this, bleachers. We're in the middle of the COVID-19 scare, which is why I'm wearing a face mask. The glasses I usually wear when I ride my bike, just to keep the wind out of my eyes, but also they're saying you catch it through your eyes or something too, so I don't know, I'm wearing them usually. I do wear glasses, but these aren't the ones normally that I would, not yet, until I get my prescription in there. So I had quite a few really awesome commercial jobs lined up. Scoot this up a little bit here so you can kind of see Times Square in the background, I think. And they sort of, I don't know about disappeared, but anyway, they were postponed. So rent must be paid, at least as for now. Food needs to be purchased. Yeah. Credit cards that got me to do a lot of the Brown Passport stories. The bills are due, so I have to pay those and then somehow make it through this so that I can still do my art, which is showing you guys, perspectives from everyone else around the world so we can make the world a better place. It sounds corny, but it's true. Applied for Amazon.com, remote work, customer service person. We'll see if I get that. I applied for the Census Bureau, applying for grants, which I was going to do anyway, and now this happened, so that's fast-tracked. Gotta keep food on the table. So we might get shut down, the city. It's pretty quiet here. It almost looks like Vanilla Sky. If you take a look back there, I'm saying if you ever saw the beginning of the film Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise, you'll have to decide how you feel about that. If you did see it, I enjoyed the film, but I respect if you didn't. But there's a scene earlier on in the film where the whole Times Square is empty. And if anyone that's ever been to New York knows this is pretty dead for Times Square. It's like millions of people here every day, not just when the ball drops. The ball drops right behind me. I don't know if you can see that. There's talks of having shelter in place or just a full lockdown. We don't know because of the coronavirus, COVID-19. It's now March 19th, 2020. And this time last week, I thought I was going to be getting on a plane next week to go shoot an advertising job in Miami. Yeah, that would have taken care of a lot of bills too, but anyway, here we are. If you take a look, I will do a story on New York. This is probably not going to be the one. Here we sit. I am wearing a GoPro. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So I'm riding my bike. I parked it over there by these news guys. And yeah, I'm going to ride the bike home and put the GoPro on. And you can see that I rode here earlier. I'm going to do a pan at Times Square too. And I'll do a little write-up on this. But we are going to make it through COVID-19. I just wanted to get a quick bite, not to eat. I meant soundbite or video piece. Because honestly, tomorrow, the next day, I might not be able to sit here. So, and I'm not meaning in a morbid way. I'm going to be okay, but they might shut the city down. So at least I wanted you to see a little bit of what it looks like. And again, it's really dead. Usually there's a million cars out here, millions of people, thousands anyway, thousands of people, and it's not right now. So I'll try this again tomorrow and see what happens. Ciao for now.
Thank you for watching another episode. Remember to hit that subscribe button, the like button on the bottom, and also comment. The stories are not just about me. There's not a whole lot of conversation that I can have by myself or just looking down the barrel of this camera that I'm very jankily holding at the moment with no gimbal and tripod. Comment so I know your thoughts. We can engage and we can keep up the dialogue. Of course, changing the narrative one conversation at a time. Ciao for now.